Well, this has been a fascinating visit. I'm really pleased to have had the opportunity to come here, thanks to the kind invitation of my friend Rob Jenrick. And it's clear, talking to the team here at British Sugar, that there's a bright future for beet growers and for the sugar processing industry as we leave the European Union. Firstly, the end of sugar quotas mean that beet producers can now be confident that their product can get to the market and be sold. It also means that British Sugar has the opportunity to sell more both to the home and to the foreign market, and that can only be good in the medium to long term for jobs and investment.
Okay. And the EU subsidies that the beet farmers get, will they be replaced once we come out of the EU?
We've said that all farmers will continue to get cash support at the same level as they currently enjoy right up until 2022. And of course we want to make sure that that cash support goes to the people who need it most, but it's the case that the sugar industry, like poultry and the whole pig and pork industry, is a uniquely competitive part of British agriculture.
Okay. A few years ago, a similar thing happened to dairy farmers, but it actually created quite a volatile market and prices fluctuated quite a lot. How do you ensure that that doesn't happen when the sugar regime comes to an end?
Well, it's certainly the case that dairy farmers have had some tough times in the past, though the situation has improved recently. But with beet production here, we are already operating in a highly competitive market. It's already the case that there are from France, Germany and the Low Countries, energetic attempts to sell sugar to British supermarkets and to British food processors, but we more than hold our own, and I think that the future is bright, and the company here, British Sugar, is very, very confident that it can continue to provide a good price to beet growers, which will enable them to find an outlet for their products. During the transition period, it's estimated or expected that we'll continue to have the capacity for people from across the European Union to continue to come here to work. Obviously, there's been some discussion about registration during that period, but in essence, it will still be the case that people from Romania and Bulgaria can come here to work in agriculture. More broadly, we're looking at what the best regime is in order to ensure that people in farming have access to the labour that they need, and that may involve ensuring that workers from outside the European Union in the future can come here to help if necessary. Well, Hopper Adams University, which is probably our leading, or one of our leading universities conducting research into agriculture and agricultural technology, is developing the principle of the how can I put this? If you say a farm without workers, that means that seems almost utopian. But they're looking at ways in which you can absolutely minimise the need for labour by developing new methods of drilling, planting, and so on. And I think it's certainly the case that we'll be saying more about how we can help innovation and automation to ensure that farmers can become even more productive in the future. I think the European Union will now be going down a different route to the one that it's gone down before. We had a speech from the French President yesterday and from the Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker last week, which sketched out a very ambitious vision for Europe. My view is that the EU 27 must make their own decisions about the future, and I wish them good luck, and Britain wants Europe to succeed and it wants the Eurozone to succeed, but as the Prime Minister said on Friday, we've chosen a different path, and we just want to make sure that the arrangements between Britain and Europe work in both our interests. Yes, we haven't expressed anything. It's the case that advice which goes to ministers from civil servants is governed by a rule which protects them, by ensuring that they can say candid things and put forward alternative scenarios without fear that those words and those actions will be misinterpreted. So there's no hidden mammoth report, it's just a piece of advice from civil servants outlining a potential scenario or two.
Will that be coming out at some stage?
Well, we share all the information we possibly can, but what we do is also protect advice. And I think there's a distinction between the proper statistical work that we do and that we share widely in order to ensure that the debate is fully informed, but also the blue sky thinking that quite rightly civil servants and ministers want to ensure can take place in an uninhibited and safe way. Well, overall, what we've seen already, even before we leave the European Union, is that the pound is now more competitive, and as a result we've seen a growth in manufacturing exports. I think that there are huge opportunities outside the European Union. But of course, one of the reasons why the Prime Minister's argued for a transition or implementation period is to help business to prepare for the opportunities that exist and to help overcome some of the challenges that may be there before we can leave the European Union and take advantage of those new markets.
Which kind of companies do you think, which industries are going to actually benefit from Brexit, and which ones are you more concerned about?
Well, I think theoretically every industry could benefit. Everything from manufacturing, which will have the opportunity to sell into new markets and which will have benefited from the pound's revaluation, through to tourism and hospitality, because again, Britain will become, in many respects, a more attractive destination for foreign visitors, through to service industries, because it has been the case that some restrictions in other countries' markets have prevented us selling in our services in the way that we might have wanted to do, and new free trade deals with other countries could allow our service industries really to reap the benefits of economic growth outside the EU.
Obviously, in this area, we're very close to Shale Forest, where
yes.
there's been some kind of fracking issues. What's your view on fracking, particularly in areas of natural beauty like Shale Forest?
Well, I think there are appropriate restrictions on fracking in areas of environmental sensitivity, and fracking does have the potential to ensure that we have a fossil fuel which is significantly less polluting than some others, and so as part of any energy mix in the future, fracking has a part to play, but it needs to be done in a way which is demonstrably safe and also in a way which does not compromise environmental concerns.